Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The next topic for today is weekly updates from the OSCE Special Monitoring Mission to Ukraine. And now I give the floor to Mr. Alexander Hook, Principal Deputy Chief Monitor of the OSCE Special Monitoring Mission. Mr. Hook, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, dear friends. On the 23rd of December, a recommitment to the ceasefire made 3 days earlier in Minsk took effect. The result, to some extent, was encouraging. On 19th December, the OSCE Special Monitoring Mission recorded almost 3,500 ceasefire violations. On the 24th December, just 64 ceasefire violations. This recommitment to the ceasefire has brought a level of peace over Christmas and New Year period that has allowed people to celebrate with some degree of normality. It has not, however, been all good news. There was no day completely free of violence. The sides have not fully complied with their ceasefire commitments. In fact, on 28th December, the OSCE SMM has been recording on average about 500 ceasefire violations every day. Compared to the high levels of violence seen before the recommitment, this is still relatively low. It is nonetheless worrying. We have seen this before. The daily number of ceasefire violations in the hundreds are nothing new. What we are seeing is a well-established pattern of violence that involves sudden, sharp decreases in the number of ceasefire violations, followed by a slow but steady rise in the hundreds, ultimately leading to escalation. Already there are indications that the escalation phase has begun, with almost 2,000 ceasefire violations recorded between 5 p.m. on Tuesday and 5 p.m. on Wednesday this week, and over 1,000 in the following 24 hours. It is a cycle of violence we have observed for some time. Just like a man climbing out of a deep hole, only to slide back down as he nears the top, the sides have come so close to ending this conflict so many times, only to engage in even more violence, to fall back down the hole they have climbed and been in for over 3 years. The number of ceasefire violations being recorded now suggests that the sides are falling down the hole again. We have seen many recommitments before: Easter, harvest, back to school, and Christmas recommitments. These recommitments are without doubt good. At the very least, they offer a period of respite for the civilian population. A period, however short, in which children can go to school in safety, in which farmers can cultivate their crops, in which people can celebrate their most cherished beliefs in peace. And it also demonstrates that the ceasefire agreed more than 3 years ago is possible to maintain. Our greatest fear is that this conflict will become protracted, that the spiral of violence will swallow all reason and sense, that people, even when they want to stop the violence, will have been sucked so far into the vortex as to make it impossible to stop. They will find it impossible to climb out of the hole. These last 3 weeks show that this point has not been reached. There is a conflict, but it is not yet protracted. There is violence, but not a spiral of violence that has sucked everyone in beyond the point of no return. There is a hole, but the sides can climb out if they want. This recommitment, like the others before, has shown that the violence can end. Despite the grinding, apparently never-ending violence, violence is not inevitable. It is not the fate of Eastern Ukraine to forever endure conflict. This conflict, as the numerous recommitments have shown, can be ended. Violence can be turned off. Dear friends, this is a new year with new opportunities. There is above all an opportunity to end 3.5 years of madness. There is for millions of people in Eastern Ukraine an opportunity to return to normal life, an opportunity for peace, an opportunity that must be taken. This opportunity can, however, only be taken by the sides. The OSCE Special Monitoring Mission can only do so much. We can only facilitate the sides. We can only monitor and report the sides' adherence to the ceasefire, and in doing so, provide the trust required for further adherence and ultimately peace. We can only facilitate dialogue between the sides. It is the sides themselves who must adhere. It is they who must cease fire. Only the sides can make the ceasefire sustainable by withdrawing weapons, disengaging, and demining. It is the sides who must engage in dialogue. They must settle their differences at the table. Last year, the OSCE Special Monitoring Mission recorded 401,336 ceasefire violations. In 2016, the comparative number was 320,130. Last year, the OSCE Special Monitoring Mission observed 4,065 instances when weapons were in violation of Minsk withdrawal lines. In 2016, the comparative number was 3,099. Last year, the OSCE Special Monitoring Mission encountered 2,422 freedom of movement restrictions. In 2016, 1,950. At this moment of opportunity, with a full sustainable ceasefire within reach, there is clearly less understanding than ever of what is required to make it happen. We in the OSCE Special Monitoring Mission cannot make it happen. Only the sides can do this. Only they can create the conditions for a sustainable ceasefire. Only they can stop the fighting. Only they can ensure there is a permanent end to this conflict through weapons withdrawal, disengagement, and demining. Only they can climb out of the hole. The OSCE Special Monitoring Mission stands ready to lend a hand. The sides only need to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hook. Now it's time for questions. Dear colleagues, you are welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Nazarenko again, 21st channel. Could you please tell us, does the SMM plan to get access to Goladosova and Travne? And if no, what kind of restrictions and impediments do you face?
Thank you. The OSCE Special Monitoring Mission has been in Travneve, and we have been reporting about this. We will continue to try accessing any location in Ukraine, including in areas where the government has no control. The results of these patrols are available publicly on our website in English, Ukrainian, and Russian language.
More questions?
Crimean News Agency. Around a month ago, the Russian side withdrew its officers from the JCCC, and I'm interested to know whether for the SMM activities were the activities of the SMM impacted by this withdrawal from the JCCC?
Thank you. The OSCE Special Monitoring Mission requires security to conduct its work. The Joint Center for Control and Coordination has explicit responsibilities under the Minsk agreements for providing safety and security, more precisely to facilitate it. Equally, it is clear that the sides have an explicit responsibility under the Minsk agreements to ensure directly the safety and security of the Special Monitoring Mission. Now, in the absence of the Russian side to the JCCC, these security guarantees must continue to be issued, and the mission, as it has been before, is in contact with all sides of this conflict and the signatories of the agreements to ensure that it can conduct its work safe and secure. Any impediment to its work, as before, will be reflected in our daily reports at the bottom of the reports under the section that is entitled Restriction to the Activities of the Mission.
Thank you. No more questions for today. Thank you, Mr. Hook.
Thank you.